Is The Rock's nice guy persona actually a facade? In this week's episode, we go over accusations of unprofessionalism on set and the fact that apparently he doesn't like to go to the bathroom and just pisses in Voss water bottles everywhere he goes. Companies are now starting to offer psychedelics to their employees in what I would imagine to be in efforts to help them cope with the fact that they have them working like dogs. A college in Scotland is rolling out a new course on campus, the subject matter being the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, of course. Pro-Hamas college protesters are starting to share lists of their donation demands on social media, which include HIV tests, Plan B, Vaseline, and vegan food options. And Joe Biden may have very well shit his pants. Allegedly. All that and more later on Lost Aux Media, the podcast.
Say you lost.
Well, is there an aux input?
Yes! Oh my gosh! Hit the aux button.
You are lost.
He's arguing it's media.
Digital media.
Instagram media.
No media whatsoever.
Lost Aux Media.
Bruh.
So apparently it's getting harder and harder to find a job nowadays. I've been seeing a lot of videos on social media, people just kind of posting about the fact that they're sending hundreds of resumes out into the void without any answers back. And those of us lucky enough to have a job, 9 times out of 10 don't like it. These companies nowadays aren't doing a whole lot as far as work morale goes for their employees. You know that whole saying, my boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I shit on company time. You know, there's truth to that. The big guy is really making out while just providing the bare minimum resources they need to squeeze out maximum profits out of their employees. This is nothing new. People have been bitching about this since the dawn of the workday. But the companies that are starting to get hip to the fact that their employees are maybe not so happy in the workplace are starting to offer solutions in unconventional ways. Like there's a company who recently just offered psychedelics basically to their employees. Now, when I heard this, I thought to myself, man, that place must suck to work for. Because if your work environment is in such a way that you have to be like, hey, man, we want to offer you psychedelic therapy treatments to help cope with stress. That's not necessarily a good sign. So check this article out. Workplaces to start offering psychedelics to help employees. To help employees what? Not put a pistol in their mouths? That sounds like the ultimate stress reliever if you ask me. But the companies are now starting to want to offer psychedelic treatment therapy to their employees to help them deal with the stresses of work. Or maybe even the stresses of everyday life. Maybe this is the companies offering a helping hand saying, hey man, we're more than just your bosses. We're more than the guys that just signed your check. We want to be your friend. And what better way to be your friend than to give you psychedelic drugs? Or at least a gateway to do them. So there's this company called Alexis Healthcare Systems. And their founder, Jorge Yan, told the Wall Street Journal that he has started offering psychedelic-assisted therapy coverage to his employees through the benefits startup Enthea. And listen to this. He says, I've experimented with psychedelics myself, and I could see how it could be helpful to people. This is the founder of this company who's now offering psychedelics to their employees. Which I don't know which I don't know which side to be on as far as imagining what that workplace would be like to work at. Because if this guy's tripping his balls off, he could either be the best boss ever or the worst boss ever. Could you imagine trying to get through your workday and this guy's crawling around the office screaming at the top of his lungs? Or, on the other side of that spectrum, you could walk into work and this guy could be like a fucking complete namaste, like, you were 4.5 hours late to work today? It's no problem. It's no problem. We'll have a nice reflection period later. Oh, right up? We don't believe in those things here. Could you imagine? Because if I'm walking into a work environment like that, sign me up. They offer ketamine-assisted therapy coverage and will soon cover psilocybin if clients are based out of or willing to go to Oregon, where it is now legal for medical use. The company added, if MDMA is approved by the FDA, they will also add that to the list. This is just like a raver's fucking wet dream, this company. Could you imagine like the lines for prescriptions at this office? Like, if you ever seen that, I think the documentary was called like American Pain or something. And it talked about these brothers that were setting up pain therapy clinics all throughout Florida. And they were just hawking off opiate pills like Perks and stuff like that. And you would see the lines outside of their parking lots of all the clinics and stuff. It's just filled with degenerate drug addicts all trying to get a fix. Because in reality, these two brothers were just setting up these clinics, dumping quack doctors in there that would write off as many scripts as they possibly could. And these guys were just raking in cash off of that. Because this was all going down before the regulated systems that we now have in place for certain things within the pharma industry, such as opiates. You know, it was back in those days, you could go to get a script from Dr. John, leave that office, and an hour later go get a script from Dr. Bill. And if you were someone selling pills or addicted to them, you're just fucking rolling in it at that point, right? But my point that I'm making is you'd see the lines outside of these places filled with degenerates and drug addicts and shit, all waiting for their scripts. Could you imagine seeing the lines outside of a clinic to get MDMA, ketamine, mushrooms? Just be a bunch of hipped out people and fucking ravers just sitting in the parking lot, fucking waiting for their scripts. The whole place is a fucking bumping house, drum and bass, EDM. So that's just fucking, that just sounds like good old fun right there. This might be the funnest company ever to work for. What am I talking shit for? This might be the funnest company to work for ever if they're offering this stuff. If they're in cahoots with Enthea, they got the plug on the ketamine, psilocybin if you live in Oregon or willing to travel there. They legalized everything out there. So it's only natural you can go out there and get some mushrooms. If you're willing to travel through the gauntlet to fucking get them. Because the streets of Oregon make the streets of K&A in Philly look like fucking Disneyland. It's crazy out there. And then it gets even better. Listen to this. Despite employer interest in psychedelic therapy, there still remains concerns about the risk of using drugs in a non-clinical setting. It says, many doctors who aren't trained as psychiatrists are now adding ketamine therapy to their arsenal for patients to use at home. That's an interesting point here to bring up. Like, I went to the doctor not too long ago, and she was a very nice lady, but I just moved to a new state, so when you go to the doctor, you have to start talking about your medical history, stuff like that. When I was younger, I had to take some sort of medication that was, it was like some sort of psych med. When I was younger, I was on it for a very brief time. It was so long ago that I don't even remember the name of it. But when I had brought it up to this doctor, this new doctor, the second that she had heard that, she kind of almost got excited. She's like, well, now doctors can prescribe that stuff too. So if you get the name of it, I might be able to prescribe. I'm like, whoa, lady. I don't even want it. What are we talking about? And it's kind of the same point that's being brought up in this article, is the fact that like many doctors who aren't psychiatrists, all of a sudden, they have this authority to just prescribe you whatever the fuck they see fit when it comes to things like your mental health and stuff like that. Yeah, that's just insane. That whole thing is just nutty. It's insane. There are some shitty jobs out there. And people have to deal with some shitty coworkers. Like, we all have to deal with our coworkers being late at times. How many times have you been at your job and a coworker shows up late, and because of that, now you have something extra on your plate to deal with? And apparently Mr. Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Mr. Perfect, he's no different when it comes to that as well. Actually, people are going as far to say that he's habitually late to sets and other events and things that he has going on. It's getting to the point to where he's getting into arguments with people on set. People are starting to bitch about his complete unprofessionalism and lack for care when it comes to the work that people are doing around him. Let's check this out. One of the highest paid movie stars in the world, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has been accused of habitual tardiness and unprofessionalism by several people associated with his upcoming movie, Red One. Co-starring Chris Evans, the film's budget has reportedly increased by $50 million because Johnson would regularly show up 7 to 8 hours late to set. The Wrap reported that Amazon has delayed the film by a year because of on-set troubles. Now, me personally, I have a theory behind this. You know, The Rock, I don't remember exactly how long ago, but I know I want to say it was within the last 10 years. He started a production company called $7. $7 is responsible for making some pretty big films. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I do know that The Rock has starred in damn near all of them. And he usually attaches himself to big name films, or at least tries to, right? So when you own a production company, you star in most of the production company's films. And that production company also works in association with other big production companies who have made some pretty big blockbuster films as well. There might be a little bit of an ego brewing up in that big old bald noggin of The Rock. So who knows? He might be going complete J-Lo diva on us. You know, he might not be the sweet smiling, always doing good Rock that we all know and love anymore. He might not be that guy. Let's keep reading, because apparently this guy he's got some dirt on him. The publication, quoting many unnamed insiders directly involved in the project, reported that Johnson shows up as much as 8 hours late to set on the movie. The troubles with him don't end there. Quotes, on set, away from his trailer, if he needs to pee, he doesn't go to the bathroom. He pees in a Voss water bottle, and his team, or a production assistant, has to dispose of it, an insider said. The only thing Dwayne was consistent at was being chronically late, another source mentioned. Johnson was late an average of 7 to 8 hours per day and missed several entire days of production, ballooning costs by at least $50 million, according to 3 insiders. It was a fucking disaster, one insider said. Dwayne truly doesn't give a fuck, another insider noted. Jesus fucking Christ, how many people are going to go after this guy without naming themselves? And once again, I think that all goes back to the whole $7 thing. You know, why would anyone involved in these productions want to badmouth him in any way if they know that they would potentially be in one of his movies or work on one of his movies in the future? We all know Hollywood's fake. We all know it's full of fake people. You really think any of these people are going to badmouth each other in public? They're all going to go anonymous, my friend. All of them. It wouldn't surprise me if one of these motherfuckers was Ryan Reynolds wearing a Deadpool mask, sitting in the back with low light, silhouetted out. They change his voice.
Dwayne truly doesn't give a fuck about the production. He's an asshole. He shows up late to say, he pisses all over the place.
Now, that's one thing I wanted to touch on. The pissing in the bottle, that's insane. That's just crazy. Like, Let's think about that. If you're on set and you're not going to the bathroom, you're like, man, for whatever reason it is, you can't take whatever time to go to the bathroom on set or wherever. To piss in that bottle, you have to then whip your Dwayne The Rock Johnson cock out, squeeze it into a Voss bottle, because I would imagine it's fucking thick as shit. So you just gotta, squeeze the fuck out of it. It's almost like, you remember when you were a kid and there was that putty and you'd stick your fingers in the putty, it'd go like, and when you accidentally pulled it out of the plastic cylinder container that it came in, you had to try to shove it back in, and it's all like bulging off the sides, but you're still trying to mash it back into that cylinder. He's basically doing that with this Voss water bottle. He's yamming his fucking rock piece into that thing. He finally pops enough in to take a piss. He has to do that in front of everyone around him, right? I hope I'm painting this mental picture good enough for you. So he has to do that in front of everyone around him. And then he takes it, caps it off, and hands it over to either one of his team members or one of the production assistants. Jesus Christ. To have that job. That's disgusting. That's so gross. And I got some questions about it. Let's think about that. Let's think about this. Here's my question. When they throw it away, ask yourself this. When they throw it away, do they throw out the whole bottle? Because the way that they have it worded here, they almost make it seem like it has to be a Voss water bottle. And with someone who's as famous and as rich as The Rock, who's probably used to hearing yes, 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 yes all the time, it wouldn't surprise me if that's a deal breaker. It's got to be a Voss water bottle. So now if it has to be a Voss water bottle, are they just uncapping it and dumping it and then capping it back off and holding the bottle? Holding on to it for the next rainy day, quote unquote. There's so much to unpack here. Now, this article also goes on to say that these types of issues, not the pissing, obviously if that's true, he's doing it all day, every day, everywhere he goes. But as far as the lateness is concerned, they're going on to say that that issue is nothing new. That he was doing that kind of thing when he was filming the TV series Ballers, which he played the lead role in. He was regularly 3 hours late to set. On the set of Rampage, he was apparently an average of 4 to 5 hours late daily. One co-star apparently was keeping records of his tardiness, according to 2 insiders. And they're also saying that the reasons behind all of this is the fact that he refuses to shoot for a full day, despite factoring in his 3-hour workout routine. And someone like The Rock, you would imagine, when they're on set, he's the type of guy that he's like, I'm working out no matter what, right? He's all work, no play. He's The Rock Johnson. He's working out no matter what. So if he's on set, you better believe that the production is going to make sure that he has a fully decked out gym on location no matter where they're shooting. This is not the type of guy who's going to go, oh, we're shooting in Santa Monica today, I'll just stop by the 24-hour fitness. It's not going to happen. You would lose more time for him having to take pictures and sign autographs and shit. It would cost you more money with that than it would to just build the fucking gym on set. So he's reached that level of stardom. So now, here's what's crazy. If the gym is there, how the fuck are you still showing up late? Like, what could you possibly be doing? You know what would be funny? If if you've ever seen the movie Pain and Gain, The Rock plays this prisoner who gets out of jail for some sort of violent crime or something like that. But he's completely jacked, obviously, if it's being played by The Rock. But in the movie, The Rock's character gets caught up in his overwhelming cocaine addiction and is doing all this shiesty shit, is just fucking up plans and being late to everything.
Team Jesus, feel great. Doyle feels great.
May cause anxiety, aggression,
seizures, suicidal thoughts, dementia, hallucinations, gas,
I feel like shit now. Jesus, forgive me.
Imagine if that was like The Rock's real life, if everything we see of him in public is just a fucking complete lie, and his real life was that character from the movie Pain and Gain. That would be hilarious, because I'll tell you right now, if you've never seen the movie Pain and Gain, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's based on a true story, but it is funny as shit, dude. It is so goddamn funny. So, going back to the article, all of those reasons, they don't necessarily make a whole lot of sense for you to be late like that. 8 hours late daily to the set? It's like, come on, man. Apparently he was getting in fights with Vin Diesel, which I would imagine that would be on the set of Fast and Furious. He's getting in arguments with Ryan Reynolds on the set of Red Notice. I mean, come on. If Ryan Reynolds is arguing with you, you must be doing something wrong, because this guy doesn't take any fucking thing serious. Like, this guy has been typecast in every movie that he's played in the past 10 years, and he played Deadpool. So this is obviously somebody that doesn't take life too seriously. If he didn't even have to go that far out of his actual personality to play the fucking character Deadpool. I mean, come on. Now, obviously, these are all just accusations, right? They're all allegations. We don't know if they're founded yet. These are all anonymous inside sources talking shit about a famous guy. So they could be hearsay. They could be whatever, because everyone likes to shit on the big guy. Anytime anyone gets as famous as The Rock does, there's always going to be someone like me who wants to shit all over them. You know? So clearly, some of these things could be lies, especially peeing on set, Voss water bottles. Like, come on. That sounds insane. Why would somebody as well put together, as responsible, as disciplined as The Rock, as Dwayne The Rock Johnson, why would they go out of their way to piss in bottles? Like, why would someone with that level of discipline just not go to the bathroom? Those were my thoughts when I first heard it. I was like, this sounds like cockamamie bullshit. That's my new favorite word, cockamamie. It sounds like cockamamie bullshit. Right? But then I saw this video. Check this out.
Guys on the market, shirts, shoes, hoodies, sweats, whatever it is. I train in it daily. I go hardcore in it, and I make sure that it's perfect by the time it gets in your hands. From this never full shirt to, I want to show you a brand new colorway for the Rock Delta training shoes. This is called Desert Sand. It's a badass color, never seen before on the market in a training shoe. And I just realized you just saw my big bottle of pee. Look, I go hardcore when I train. I don't have time to go to the bathroom. I find a bottle, I pee in it, and I keep training like a beast. This November, USDNA, get ready.
Right there. You heard it from the horse's mouth, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're watching and not just listening, you saw it. One huge Voss water bottle of pee. We're not talking like one of those little Voss water bottles that you can get in like the gas station. You know, they sell ones that are like the same size, or at least they're the same height as a regular water bottle. They're way skinnier. It's probably like a regular bottle would be like 20 ounces. These things are probably like 12. Still cost like $6. We're not talking about one of those little daddy Voss water bottles. We're talking about the ones that they give you at those nice restaurants, those big boys. Those like 12-inch tall Voss water bottles with the thick with a thick girth on. And it's just fucking filled with piss. It's filled with piss. Now, if you're someone like me who tries to connect the dots here, you see this video, and you think to yourself, well, I mean, if he's caught red-handed right here, I would imagine this is probably clipped from like a live of his. So there's no taking this back. There was no not post to this for him. If you see this and you're like, this guy got caught red-handed with the bottle of pee. That to me at least, that kind of solidifies the argument a little bit of it being real. How awesome would it be to like see him go live one day and him accidentally take a fucking huge swig out of the Voss water bottle thinking he's grabbing like something else? He's like, I go hard, I train like a beast. I go hard, I train like a beast. He just chugs it down. And to save face on the Instagram live, he's like, oh, I accidentally drank my bottle of pee, but we're beasts out here in this gym. We down it. We don't even give a fuck. Then downs the rest of the bottle. Then whips his dick out, pisses in it again, and downs it again. He's like, that's how fucking hard I am on the rock. God, that is insane. That is insane. One boss I would not like to have. So I wanted to also talk about this college in Scotland. This college in Scotland is offering a college course on Taylor Swift. Yeah, I said that right. You did not mishear that. They're offering a college course on Taylor Swift. The reason for this being is because Taylor Swift is so goddamn popular now that her Eras tour is just sold out. It's like anytime she adds a city, bam, sold out. The second that bitch goes live, sold out. And the venues are having to be so big to accommodate for the huge number of fans that are going to them. So naturally, when it comes to going to these big places, you might not get to experience everything all at once, especially if you're not familiar with what the Taylor Swift Eras Tour experience entails. You know? So naturally, this college in Scotland, they decided to add a college course for something like this because most of Taylor Swift's fans are children, young girls. So naturally, these young ladies are not going to be showing up to the concerts by themselves. So they're going to need a parent. They're going to need somebody to pay for the tickets, somebody to drive, and somebody to hold their hand while they scream their fucking heads off to the lyrics of 1989. You know? These are all things that are expected. Naturally, every college should have something like this because she's so goddamn popular now that it's going to be, this is a global takeover type thing. If something like this is happening, this is a global takeover type situation. I mean, she's already taken over the NFL. Ever since she started dating Travis Kelce, I've been hearing nothing but football fans bitch about the fact that they see her more than they see their favorite players on TV. And I could naturally see why people would get upset about that. I don't know. If I was watching the X Games and Taylor Swift was in the crowd because she was dating Nigel Houston, and they just cut to her every 5 seconds instead of me seeing some nice-ass fucking tray flip down a fucking back nine, yeah, I'd be a little upset myself. So I get it. And like I said earlier, when people get big enough, everyone wants to shit on them, right? Seems like you can't do that with Taylor Swift. She's too big. She's beat out Beyonce twice for Album of the Year. First time she did it, Kanye West rips the microphone out of her hand, gives her a little bit of what for, a little piece of his mind.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm going to let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
Little crazy yay on him. Little crazy yay on him. This time she did it, Jay-Z bitches about it like a little child on stage with this fucking sideshow bob dreads.
Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work. You know, some of you gonna go home tonight and feel like you've been robbed. Some of you may get robbed. Some of you don't belong in the category. Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
This guy looks insane. Let's stop for a second and talk about how fucking ridiculously ugly Jay-Z is. That's it. That's the end of the PSA. I just wanted everyone to know. This guy is fucking retarded looking. It's insane. Everyone thinks that guy's in the Illuminati? Come on. But going back to Taylor Swift in this college course, she can't be stopped. It ain't going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into what this course is about, right? So more than 2.9 million fans attempted to secure tickets for Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, and her sold-out concerts at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh are set to be watched by 250,000 people. Swift will perform in Edinburgh on June 7th, 8th, and 9th, with the crowd numbers expected to beat Harry Styles' record in 2023 for the biggest show in Scotland. So with all that being said, Glasgow Clyde College, GCC for short, has launched a Taylor Swift masterclass aimed at teaching parents and plus ones about the set list and Swift's evolving wardrobe and hairstyles. Kill me now if I'm one of those parents and or plus ones. Could you imagine being the boyfriend of a girl who makes you take her to this tour and is such a big fan of Taylor Swift that she also wants you, a non-Swiftie, to take part in this master class so that you can understand when she's going to change dresses and when she's going to part her bangs to the left and part her bangs to the right. Stick a hot poker in my eye. I'm out. Count me out of that. The parents in Scotland that are taking this master class at, for just the sheer fact that they want to please their child and give their child the best experience that they possibly can, all of you deserve medals. You are all the greatest parents on earth. Because, granted, I don't have a child. If I did, you could not pay me enough to go to this class. I hope that this class is free. Because if they're charging for this, there's no way they can be charging for this. If parents are paying for a masterclass on top of, I could imagine these tickets are probably like $2,000 just for some regular ass seats. They're not cheap. If you know anything about supply and demand, it's obvious the demand for these tickets are high, and when that happens, the supply goes down, and when that happens, the price goes up, baby. So I would imagine these tickets are not cheap. If you got to pay an extra amount of money just to fucking learn about how to go to the damn thing, but I don't know. I want to read on because there's no way that this would cost money. There's no way. Look, it will also cover crowd chants as well as Swift's previous work, including albums Fearless and Folklore. Now, I know I'm talking a lot of shit, but I actually dig Taylor Swift. Like when I hear her songs, got a long list of ex-lovers, they'll tell you I'm insane. I know some of the lyrics. So her popularity is not necessarily lost on me, but I'm not going to go to one of her concerts. And if I got to get drug along to this shit, I ain't showing up to no master class. Listen, babe, you're going to have to figure it out when we get there. Look it up online. Go on TikTok. Watch videos of other people's experiences. This is insane. And crowd chants. What could Taylor Swift possibly be chanting? Besides, fuck Kanye West.
I'm gonna let you finish.
The one-off course, which is free. There you go. So it is free. Thank God. will take place from 6 p.m. to 7:30 on May 7th in the Innovation Center at GCC's Langside campus. Robert Anderson, Curriculum Assistant Principal at GCC, said Taylor Mania doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, and we expect it to reach its peak here in Scotland in June. We understand that not everyone will be up to speed on all things Taylor and might not get the full era's experience. I'm not mad at her. She's clearly taken over the world. She could potentially end this whole conflict happening in the Middle East. You know, Hamas, Israel, all that. You get Taylor Swift to start saying some things behind all that. See how fast the Swifties start mobilizing on that fucking situation. You'll have petitions sent to fucking politicians faster than you could fucking blink, dude. If Taylor Swift goes pro-Hamas, it is over. If Taylor Swift puts out a PSA talking about her endorsement of being pro-Palestine in the Hamas-Israel conflict, the world would end. Because it would be the Swifties versus everybody else, and I don't know if we could handle it. I'm not going to lie. I really don't. But now that we're sitting here cracking jokes about Hamas, I wanted to bring up these protests that are happening all around these college campuses. They're a little wild. It's unfathomable to me how these college kids, these like new wave liberal hippies that are protesting in these colleges, just want to protest something that legitimately has nothing to do with their everyday lives. And I understand that, you know, babies are dying, children are dying, women are dying. It's terrible. It sucks. Like, I would not want to trade my position for someone in that situation for anything. It's fucked up. But I got bills to pay. I got places to fucking be, lady. We can't afford to be thinking about this shit. A loaf of bread is $5. Can we figure that shit out before we start getting into these Israel-Palestine fucking conflicts and these protests, damn it? Can we protest the fact that 12 eggs cost $17? That's not a joke. This is I'm being serious. Can we protest something a little closer to home? Some of these protests that are happening now, they're so ill-planned. Obviously, they're ill-planned because these protests, they're getting sprouted out of nowhere. It's like one day, the campus is fine. The next fucking day, it's got 200 tents in the quad. There's a bunch of protesters, and they're just like ready to go. But it's obvious that there's no long-term planning here because almost immediately after they're sprouting, they're already asking for donations, sending out lists of demands. We're not going to be able to keep this protest alive without your help. If only we would have thought it through just a little bit more. So listen to this. The University of Chicago anti-Israel encampment asked for Plan B and HIV test donations. What that has to do with the conflict in Israel and Palestine is beyond me. The only thing that tells me is that during this whole protest, y'all are out there fucking. And y'all are fucking hard. And you're fucking so much that you're putting a priority on it because you need some tests. What, you guys can protest the conflict, but you can't wear condoms? Like, what is happening here? So let's read on. U Chicago United for Palestine, which describes itself as a coalition committed to Palestinian liberation, is the driving force behind days' worth of anti-Israel demonstrations at the University of Chicago. Thursday marked the fourth day. This is how unprepared they are. Thursday marked the fourth day of the group's encampment of U Chicago's main quad. So not only are they just asking for asinine stuff, they didn't even have the forethought to think about this protest, this encampment, with like a 4-day forethought. These are the future politicians, the future technicians, the future engineers of our country that are doing this. In an Instagram post, the coalition made a series of supply requests for its medical tent, including Plan B, also known as the morning after pill. Chicago United for Palestine also requested HIV tests and dental dams, which the CDC describes as sheets used between the mouth and vagina or anus during oral sex. Jesus Christ. Is anyone in this protest even going to this school? It just sounds to me like a couple of like liberal chicks like got together and were like, we're gonna put up some signs in the quad to protest Israel. And a group of fratties were like staring them down like fucking like Wile E. Coyote looking at the Roadrunner like, oh my God, we got to get in that protest. It's like a bunch of bros like that don't even go to the school just all started gathering around. They're like, dude, these protester chicks are putting out. Like, they're not getting invited to keg parties, dude. They're putting out. Next thing you know, the whole protest is filled with people that don't go to the school. Everyone's fucking so much that they need Plan B, dude. No protection. They're gearing themselves up like they're getting ready for you. They're, that fake riot gear. It's like the plastic knee pads that you buy from Walmart, but it's like on the chest and the shoulders and the elbows. They're like showing up to these things completely masked up, wearing full riot gear, but none of them want to wear condoms when they're fucking in those humid, miserable tents. I can only imagine what it smells like when you walk out to the quad. It just smells like fucking pennies and bleach and BO. Fucking Cheetos and Mountain Dew. Oh, that's insane. So let's check out this Twitter post. Gabby Deutsch posted a Twitter post that has a picture from the Chicago United Instagram page. And this is a list of all the supplies needed for the medical tent that was posted to their Instagram stories. Now, granted, a lot of these supplies are like medical supplies that people would need. But once again, when you throw these like arbitrary ass supplies that you need donated that have really nothing to do with any sort of like cause or protest, like Plan B and HIV pills, these are not things that should be on any medical supply list at any protest. Like, fucking should not be at top of mind. Not to say that it shouldn't happen, Things happen in the passion of the moment, two righteous souls entwining in this protest for a good cause gets chicks a little hot. I get it. Things are bound to happen, but it shouldn't be the fucking priority if you're protesting. So when you throw that stuff in the mix of your real medical supplies, it kind of almost discredits the fact that you may even need supplies in the first place. It kind of makes you seem like so ridiculous to people that are not involved in your protest, that they're just like, all right, this is bullshit. This is clearly just some sort of ploy for either attention or these kids got nowhere else to be. You can't put stuff like that in your fucking list of like donation requests and expect people to take you seriously. But I digress. This is what the list says. Like I said, most of them are actual supplies. So they need tables, heated gloves, wound pack gauze, portable chargers, Kerlix gauze, cat tourniquets, ace bandages, 4x4s gauze, ABD pads for wounds, goggles, emergency bandages, trauma shears, Vaseline, tweezers, CPR masks, butterfly suture closers, disposable stethoscopes, camping sink, buckets with lids, helmets, and now, here's the fun stuff. HIV tests, dental dams, Plan B, Diva cups, chapstick, Meyer blankets, contact solution in cases, and IFAC pouches. So, like I said, when you just sprinkle that shit in there, it might have been better off if they didn't clump all the weird shit together. Like, if you would have went, we need table, heat gloves, wound packing gauze, HIV tests, portable chargers, Kerlix gauze, Diva cups. Like, you mix it in there. If you throw one in there, then after like 3 or 4, you throw another one in there. People might not have caught on as fast. But to say that you need this stuff, it kind of just discredits all of the seriousness behind your so-called devoted cause. And like I said earlier, there are things so much closer to home that, in my opinion, these kids, the future generations of our country, should be upset about. Like, these kids doing these protests don't even realize how fucked the economic system is in which they will then be a part of once they graduate from school or fail out. As, I'm sure a lot of these protestings are going to come with some consequences. There's no way that a school is just going to let you take over the quad with 200 plus tents, guaranteed you're leaving trash all the fuck over the place, and they're not going to start tossing out a couple of expulsions. There's no way it's not going to happen. So it's once again, it's funny that it's happening so far from home, but the protests are just going on. And I saw this one video with a couple of these protesters kind of giving their explanation as to why they're even doing this in the first place. And it makes a lot of sense. Like, when you hear the explanation coming from them, and when they explain it the way that they do, it actually does kind of drive the point in to like why they're doing it. And it gives you a better perspective as to why. I know once I watched this video and I heard why they were doing it, it made me feel a little more sympathetic to the cause. Because it truly is devastating, the reasons why all of these college kids across the United States are deciding to now come together in some sort of solidarity to protest this Israel-Palestine conflict. So let's make sure the volume's good, and let's play this video so that we can hear it, directly from the horse's mouth.
The reason that we're protesting today has to do with the fact that nobody has ever invited us to any keggers on or off campus. We've never been invited to any parties. We've never even been looked at by any men. I mean, I used to be into men, but then I decided that it would be easier to be non-binary. So these are the main reasons that we are against Israel. It is also really frustrating that many of the Jewish students at this school seem to have large friend groups and are able to meet people and have fun and have a good time. And we just see that as colonialism at play. So without colonialism, we would be able to level the playing field and make sure that students like us would be the center of attention as opposed to popular people.
It's obvious that these protesters and students have nowhere else to be. Because when I was that age, I'll tell you right now, it wasn't even like I was a good-looking, popular, striking young gentleman. But I was doing anything I could to be at parties, to be hanging out with other people, to just do what kids did at that age. To fuck around, to experiment a little, whatever. And nowadays, I feel like with the inside society, the kids are growing up spending less and less time outside. And with that comes a level of loneliness that, generations prior never really experienced. And with that level of loneliness comes not being invited to shit. So it's clear that these people protesting don't have anywhere else to be. Like, if you're in college and you're protesting out in the quad, and the protesting is lasting 3, 4 days, 5 days, a week, whatever, and you're sitting there saying, we're not giving in, we're going to protest until certain demands are met, or until the Israel-Palestine conflict is resolved, or we're going to keep protesting until the president signs off on some humanitarian aid bill. the whole time you're doing that, you're not at class. You're not studying for anything. You're definitely not spending time with people doing other things besides protesting, so you're not getting invited to stuff. And obviously this video is a joke. They're clearly not doing it. At least they'll never admit that they're doing it because they're not getting invited to parties and stuff like that. But it's obvious that these are all people that have nowhere else to be. And if they did, they wouldn't be protesting. It's like they find this kind of like loophole. It's like, we're not going to get invited to parties and stuff, so we'll just make our own party. And bam. Bring in the Israel-Palestine protests. You know? It's a simple spell, yet quite unbreakable. But then going into some other stuff, you know, just some bullshit talk. Apparently, Joe Biden very well may have shit his pants while speaking to reporters at what looks like it's right outside the White House. It's white outside the right house, because if it's white, it's right, you know. At least that's what it looks like in the video. It looks like he shit his pants while speaking to reporters right outside the White House. Allegedly. Now, obviously, a lot of people talk shit about good old Joe because he's old. A lot of people are starting to say that stupid-ass phrase. His age is his superpower. His age is his superpower. I don't know anybody that's around his age that's acting the way he acts that has anything heroic or super about them. Aside from the fact that they can take massively heroic shits in their old-ass diapers, which is what apparently it appears like he's doing. Let's look at this video real quick.
Would you release the transcript? Would you release the transcript?
Oh my. Now, it's obviously a short video. If you're just listening, you're just hearing the reporters, oh, would you release the transcript? And blah, blah, blah. But basically, in this little 6-second clip, he's taking his little old guy stroll, you know? He does a little, Maybe he's walking to the chopper or something, getting ready to take a nice little ride. And mid-stroll, he gets stopped. And he could be just stopping to talk to the reporters or at least listen to what they're saying, because God knows he's going through however many decoder rings in his mind to try to figure out what it is that they're saying, because he is so far gone as far as his mental abilities go. So he probably is stopping to just be like, what is even happening right now? But the stance, that's where it really is. It's the stance for me, because I've seen that. I've seen that stance. Let's go to it. Look at that. Look at that. You see, if you're watching right now, you can see I'm going through the timeline of the scroll bar. You see that one step? You see how he has that side turn like that? And then, he makes that little pivot, right? And he stops. He stops to hear out the reporters. But that's not where I'm seeing the shitting the pants. It's not just the stopping, right? It's not just the fact that he stopped. You ever see a kid and they're just fucking doing like Mach 1 through the living room, and then all of a sudden they stop in the middle of their tracks? I'm talking dead stop. And they stop and they give you that stare and they do the little, and you start to ask, you're like, hey buddy, you all right? Are you going to the bathroom? And they're like, no. And you obviously know they're lying to you. But with that, you know, that scrunched face and the holding of the clenching while they're talking, with that, it comes this little stance where they're not necessarily standing up completely straight. they're still standing up straight, but they kind of like, they take their hip, right? And they kind of just push it back a little bit further than the rest of their body line. So their ass is just slightly further back while the rest of their body is just completely straight. You know? It's almost like this weird thing. You know how girls will just kind of arch out their butts a little bit? It's almost like the little kid will stop and do that, but they're standing up completely straight still, but they just got a little bit of bend to them. And you just know that they're unleashing hell in their pants with that stance. It's the perfect stance for it, you know? If I was going to shit standing up, that's exactly how I would do it. And you can see it. Look at the way he steps into that stance. Perfect. Couldn't have done it better myself. And he has that look on his face. He's like, what is going on? What? The transmission in the car blew out? The what mission? The what mission? Huh? There's reporters? Like, he's so out of it. If he is shitting his pants, he probably doesn't even know he's shitting his pants. And then you look, his wife is just like, fuck this, dude. She just gets the fuck out of there. She knows. You can see it. Look at her. She's just so out of there. She's got her arms crossed and she's just looking like, this motherfucker is shitting his pants in front of all these fucking reporters. Like, she's so sick of it. You can see she's just like, I am so tired of playing this fucking part. Of having to pretend that this guy is not just a fucking completely lifeless fucking puppet of a man. Just waiting to go into the sweet embrace of death. Because God knows he's got to be struggling right now. Look at this. Look at her just leave. She's like, see ya, goodbye. And then you look at some of these comments. Look at this. I love this. Look, someone wrote, I'm so used to seeing my 2-year-old do that I almost grabbed some wipes just now. You got to help him out. Imagine if he actually did shit his pants. Obviously, it's a joke. It's funny to just look at the video and see him. He really does look like he's stopping to shit his pants. And when you see how old he is and some of the stuff he's done like this, we're literally talking about a guy who's reading his fucking teleprompters for his speeches and reading like the stage directions in them. Like he was reading a speech not too long ago. I don't know exactly what he said, but he's like, this nation is great and we need to be great and build back better. Pause.
Folks, imagine what we can do next. 4 more years. Pause. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
And you see his guys behind him like, did he just fucking read the stage directions? Are you serious? And they try to like, oh, let's clap because he said the nation's great. And then everybody's cheering and shit. And you could see they're like, oh my God, we almost fucking lost it right there. You know, this is the same guy. He's clearly losing his goddamn marbles. He's old. He's fucking old. If he was somebody's dad, people would be like, we got to get that guy out of there. Why would you put your father through this? Let him relax, you know? Let him relax a little bit. But this is the world we live in. Now, we can't change it, but we can change how we react to it. Just like he reacted to the reporters. They called him off guard. He shit his pants. What else do you want from the guy? 4 more years, ladies and gentlemen. 4 more years.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
And hold my fart like a bong rip.